2 quarts of oil. Where is it all going? This old girl drinks a little bit of oil, so I'm putting in some oil, but I've noticed something interesting. We're underneath the car. There is just oil all over the bottom of this thing. I believe my valve covers are leaking, so we'll have to get that maintenance done. Hi guys, welcome back to Rolling Stonks. My name is CJ, and this is my 2004 Mercedes-Benz G500. These are great cars. They're pretty reliable. They've got the Mercedes M113 V8 engine, which is a bulletproof engine, and these older models don't have a ton of electronics in them that can go bad. I really like these cars. I've owned this one now for a few years, and she's due for a little bit of maintenance. Today, what we're going to be doing is 2 jobs in one. We're going to be replacing the valve cover gaskets, as well as the coil wires and spark plugs. These are all of our new parts. As you can see, we've got our valve cover gaskets here, and they are OEM factory gaskets. There's the part number for that one, which is the right side. And there's the part number for that one, which is the left side. We also got 3 new breather hoses because that's what came in the valve cover gasket kit. We got this sealing compound here that we'll use for the small parts on the valve covers. And over here, we have our new spark plugs, which are Bosch, as well as new coil wires, which are also Bosch. I was recommended to get these by the automotive shop because they said these are much better than the aftermarket ones. The OEM stuff is a little bit more expensive, but it is usually much better. I have found, and other people have found, that aftermarket stuff doesn't tend to last as long as the OEM stuff sometimes. So when I'm working on my cars, I like to put in OEM stuff. As you can see, there are multiple sizes of coil wires here. You've got this one here, which is the longest one. You've got these 2, which are a little bit shorter. Then you've got these 4, which are a little bit shorter than those. And then you've got a bunch of these 48 ones that are the shortest ones. When you're buying these, you want to make sure you get the right lengths. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some that are too long or too short, and that's going to be a problem. There are some companies that sell these as kits. However, I've found that the kits can be quite expensive. The spark plugs I'm putting in here are just Bosch double platinum FR8s, and these are supposed to be pre-gapped for this car, so they should just go right in. For those of you like me who like these old depreciated exotics, I've got some new shirts on my website that you guys can go buy. Check out the link in the description below. On these old hoopties, there's a lot of things that can go wrong during a project. I've already run into my first one, which is that my hood won't properly pop. Oh, this hood always gets stuck too, so we'll use the old hammer trick. This lever here pops the hood, but on mine it sticks. So what I have to do is take this hammer, stick it in here like this, and prop it up, and now I can open the hood. Put a hammer in the lever, and now she pops right open. Ah yes, the M113 V8 engine. This here is the famous Mercedes M113 V8 engine, and it's a great engine. They're practically bulletproof. Unfortunately, they are known for seeping oil out of several places, including the valve cover gaskets, the oil filter housing, and the oil level sending unit. The first thing we're going to do is remove this plastic cover, which is really easy. Pop it up and pull out. Up and out. Up and out. There we go. These hoses, I think, just pop out like this. Sure. Yep, there we go. There's one. Now we have very easy access to our coil packs, our coil wires, our valve covers, and our valve cover gaskets. And look at all this oil here. My gosh. Oh. And I just broke that. Darn it. My gosh, these are so fragile. And now it's going to slide out because it doesn't have a clip. Shoot. So we've already got our first casualty. As you can see, this coil pack plug is out and these plastic tabs have broken. Apparently this is a really common problem, and I don't know what to do about it quite yet. We're gonna have to come up with a solution. Maybe zip ties around the coil pack might work, I don't know. But just so you know, before you take these out, this is probably gonna break. Typical. Oh, yeah, there we go. I see. Okay, so the short ones go to the bottom, the longer ones go to the tops. Now that we've removed our coil pack wires, we're going to remove our coil packs. I'm just going to use a T30 Torx bit, and these things will unbolt and come right off. Now we have a very clear view of our valve cover. Right there, you can really tell that there's some oil coming out there. But other than that, this doesn't look too bad till you get there. Wow, look at all that oil coming out of there. Now, I don't know if that's the valve cover gasket, but it very well could be. We'll find out when we get this valve cover off. On the other side, we've got, of course, all this. Down here, you can see there might be something going on there. But other than that, it looks okay. What's going on down there, though? Ah, look at that. There's some oil there, too. That looks like it could potentially be the valve cover. So we're going to go ahead and get these guys off. Wish me luck. Kind of pull this baby off. All right, we've got all the bolts off, and I've vacuumed all of the sediment out of here, and so hopefully nothing will fall into the engine when I take this off. Here we go. Still feels like it's attached down here. What's going on? Is that? Oh, okay, it's gonna pop out of there like that. Okay, so that's gonna go like that. There we go. There it comes. And there's the gasket, which wasn't really on all that smell, it looks like. Eight out of the 16 coil wires are out. Let's finish cleaning this thing. T25. Yes, got it. Oh wow, look at that seal. That thing's nasty. That thing is crusty, dude. Look at that. That does not look like it was changed 10,000 miles ago. Huh. Alright, back in the parts cleaner we go. It is now nighttime and it has been several hours because I have been cleaning this valve cover and the little piece that goes on the valve cover. Now it got really tricky because in here there was some kind of glue and boy, it was really difficult to get this off. You can see there's no residue left on here and it's ready for some new silicone adhesive and some new bolts because the aluminum ones that were here actually stretched and you're not supposed to reuse them anyway. So I'm gonna get some stainless steel bolts for this and we're gonna put some silicone on this, but I have to wait till tomorrow because the hardware store is closed. So we're going to move on to spark plugs. Here is the new spark plug next to the old one, and as you can see, this one actually does have quite a bit of corrosion on it. The gaps look about the same, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this one in here. The website said do not gap, it's a preset gap, so I'm just going to go with that and put it in there. Wow, that one's covered in oil. And it's very clean. Interesting. All right, we got 21 pounds. I woke up this morning and came out here and the washing machine had dumped a full load of water all over the garage floor. So got to clean that up. But now that that's all clean, we're gonna get to work here. The next steps are to get the valve cover reassembled and then we're gonna go ahead and put that back on the car. Okay, got all the edges, got the middle line, and got the screw holes. Time to bolt her down. Very careful when we do this, just to not mess anything up. Okay, now we bolt it down. We have our piece installed on our valve cover, and these are torque to spec, which is 4 Newton meters, and this has been filled with silicone adhesive, and it's ready to go. So our next step would be to get this in the car, but first we want to get our new coil wires in while they're easy to access. These are the old coil wires, and I'm just going to match the sizes here, and I've laid them out from the back of the car to the front. I just noticed something about these coil wires. They actually say which one they are. If you look at this one, it says right here 356912954. So here is our 954 coil wire, and we have just matched them up. So I'll just do this with all these and we'll be good to go. And there we go, we've matched them all up. Let's get them in there. All right, that's one new hose. Oh yeah. What we've got going on here is it looks like this fuel line, which is going into this fuel rail here, is conflicting with the valve cover coming out. I'm gonna have to disconnect that, but in order to do that, I need to release pressure from the fuel rail. So over here, we have a makeshift setup. I don't have the proper specified hose, so what we've done here is rigged up a bag, and I've got this little pointy thing, and we're just gonna push this valve core in, and nothing's coming out. So I think the pressure has already been released. We've got a towel down here to catch any fuel that may come out. And this is a 17 mil, so here we go. Wow, that's really on there. Okay, well, something broke loose. Hopefully it was the right thing. Yes, it was. Okay. Whew, thank heavens. All right, this should just pop off now. Boy, that thing was really on there. Yeah, it's off, and I can see fuel. Oh boy, that's a lot of fuel coming out of there. And now this should come right off. Right off. Great, now we get to clean this guy. Oh boy, that's not gonna be fun. You can see where it's wet here all the way across versus right here where it's dry on this side of the valve cover gasket. I think it was leaking quite a bit throughout here at least, and you can see on the sides here it was also coming out of here. We're gonna get this all cleaned up, and that's gonna take a long time. Yes, look at that. That's the trick. Get a knife and cut these first. Now that the new hoses have been installed and these valves have been covered up by this plastic, we can move on to getting this one installed. This passenger side valve cover gasket is done. All of these bolts are torqued to spec, which is 8 Newton meters or about 6 foot-pounds. And we have, you know what? I just realized I haven't reattached that. So we do need to reattach that because that goes like that. But we'll do that real quickly. We've got the hose connected and we've got the coil wires in. We've got this dipstick tube installed and everything's torqued down, and I've triple checked them, so they're all good to go. Welcome to day 3 of changing the valve cover gaskets. Some of you guys might be thinking, why is it taking 3 days for this guy to change his valve cover gaskets? Well, let me show you. This is the driver's side valve cover gasket, and you can see I've finally got this piece off, which people said, be careful when you're taking it off. I had to put every ounce of strength I had into getting this off and use a crowbar, basically. And boy, it was not easy. I think the person who worked on this car probably used the wrong kind of sealer. As you can see, there's this sealer stuff all over these covers, and I have been scrubbing these for hours. I scrubbed these things for probably, I kid you not, 2 or 3 hours last night, and there's still stuff all over these covers. That said, I think I'm finally on the final stretch. I will be scrubbing all this stuff off today, and once that's done, I'll finally be able to mate that breather cover back to this valve cover, and I'll finally be able to get this back in the car. Boy, this has been a crazy job. I tell you what, the G life right now, it ain't so G. As soon as I get those covers cleaned, I'll be able to put them back in the car and torque this stuff down, and she should run right as rain. Speaking of rain, that's what I'm having to put my Roadster through while this is happening, because even though it's Southern California and it never rains here, it's definitely gonna rain when I need the garage to work on this. Before I get started, I just want to remind you guys that I have new t-shirts, including this G Life one. Now this one's a little weird. I'm not sure you'd ever wear this one in public, but I do have other designs, so please check out the link in the description below, because these projects don't pay for themselves. Time for more scrubbing. Let's get back to work. As you can see, all of the old gasket material is out and they're scrubbed clean. This is perhaps the most sensitive part of the process here. We've got this valve cover, breather cover here, and we need to put our silicone adhesive in here and then glue it to this. Alright, well that's not great, but it's gonna have to do. This damn thing kept clogging on me, and I was unable to get as even of a bead on this as I was on the last one, but it's solid all the way across, and I think we're gonna be a-okay here. It should seal just fine. I don't see any spots where it's gonna leave any air gaps or anything, and when this pushes down on the valve cover, it's also gonna expand and hopefully fill in any spaces. So let's go ahead and get it on there. Now I need to be super careful when I do this because this thing needs to be right on the money. Oh God. Okay, she's on there. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it down. All right, now we need to torque these down to 5 Newton meters, which is approximately 3.68 foot-pounds. Guys, right now I'm cleaning coil packs, which is making them look really nice. And I've got 4 more to do here. More cleaning. Valve cover is in its home. Luckily, I found a nice workaround for these clips being broken. I just took some black zip ties and I wrapped one around that way and one around that way. And now I'm just going to clip these guys off and this guy will be good to go. There we go. See, we don't need to replace the wires because that will work just fine. It is day 4 of the valve cover gasket and coil wire and spark plug replacement job. It has not been very easy. Scrubbing these took most of the time. This was my first time doing a valve cover gasket job, and I was not fully prepared for the scope that this entailed. Everything is back in here, installed, and torqued down. I've double and triple checked the bolts here. We've got our coil packs installed, we've got our coil wires installed, our brand new spark plugs, which are pre-gapped, installed. And the only thing left would be the air box. But before we get that air box installed, I'm gonna test this thing and make sure it still works. Oh, I'm a little nervous. All right, the moment of truth. You could hear the fuel pump priming the fuel rail here. And here's the line we took off. And I don't see any leaks. So that's good. You hear something. Not sure what I hear. That's a weird sound. Oil burning off the exhaust here, but that's okay. Seeing something I shouldn't be seeing. You guys see that sparking? Probably not good. There was some sparking going on, so I'm going to pull it and reinstall it and hope that that solves our problem down here. I've replugged that in and just double checked everything. I've checked for leaks and I don't see anything leaking from the valve covers at this point, which is a great sign. I don't think that's a leak, right? No. Okay. Oh, that's way better. All right, it sounds good now. It sounds like it's running on all cylinders now. I don't see any spark coming from down here. No spark down here. And I don't see any spark coming from that now, so that's good. Guys, I think we're good. Very good. We hear some valve clicking, but I think that's normal for these engines. Definitely some smoke coming off, but overall, guys, I think we're good. This engine is running well. Heck yeah. No leaks, no fires yet. So let's go ahead and take this bad boy for a spin. As you can see, the car is warmed up and the smoke has disappeared. So I'm going to check the torque one more time and then get to cleaning those air boxes and reinstalling them, and we'll be done with this. Also, I gotta clean up this mess. Look at all that oil that came out of the car. My goodness. Oh boy, I was about to put the air box back on, and look, we've got our first casualty. Now at first I thought it was this bolt here, but now I'm looking up here and it looks like it might be coming out of the cap actually. And now I'm wondering if I had a leaking cap this whole time, because this part of the valve cover was covered in oil. And if it was leaking from the bolt, I don't think it would be able to get up here. So we're gonna pull this open and see if it looks like it's been leaking out of here. And if it has, we might be able to fix this very easily. All right. Yep, that's covered in oil and that was perfectly clean. And look at here, it's coming all out here. So I'm thinking I actually have a leaking seal for my oil cap, which is very fortunate because it means it's not probably this bolt. Whew. All right, I'm gonna do two things here. I'm going to take this seal out and I'm gonna flip it because this one's pretty indented and I'm hoping the other side is not. I'm also gonna bend these a little that direction so that it holds more tightly onto the valve cover. There we go. Pull that out, and then we'll flip it that way. But first I'm gonna clean all this up. Okay, let's bend these a little bit. This one too. All right. She's looking clean now. So this side has an indent. I'll put that up against the cap, and then this will rest against the valve cover. Hopefully that'll solve this sealing problem. Our seal is in. That feels like it's a lot tighter than maybe it was. So hopefully, boy, I'm looking at this too. This looks like it's scalded from hot oil. So man, I'm just guessing this was leaking the whole time. Oh, that's so beautiful. It's like the easiest part of the whole job right there. And there you have it. This car is finally done. For those of you considering doing this job at home, I would say it is doable, but definitely make sure you have all the right supplies first. There were some points in the job where I didn't have the right supplies, and that's why it took me 4 days to complete this valve cover job. I hope that you guys watching me struggle on this project helped you guys with your valve cover gasket job at home. Now that the car's done, I'm gonna go enjoy it. If you guys like content like this on cars like this that are sometimes a challenge to work on and a pain in the butt, but totally worth it once they're running right, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Also, don't forget, we now have t-shirts in the store. We've got G-Life t-shirts and some other car shirts as well on there. Check out the link in the description below. Peace out, rock on.